What is up, everybody? Welcome to Mot Today. Hope you guys are having a good day. What's going on, Mick?
Howdy, y'all. We're here to talk about guns.
That's right. That's what we're going to start off with. But before we get into that, as I'm going through the Taiwan news, it's the Taipei Times. One of the articles on the front page, this is breaking news, guys. I don't know if you knew this or not, but a study has just been conducted, right? Well, it took place a while ago. But a study has just stated conclusively that drinking sugary drinks causes cavities. Now we know in 2022. Holy shit.
Wow.
I'm serious. It's like on the front line. It says sugary drinks increase cavity risk, studies show. So it doesn't increase cavities. It increases your risk of getting cavities. Oh, my God.
Yeah, maybe you got to rinse your mouth out with water after you drink something with sugar in it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Water is a natural solvent.
So, welcome to MOT number 9. Wow. What are we doing it 2 months now, huh? Every single week.
Man.
Only 2 months.
Every week.
I feel like it feels like it's been longer than that.
Well, we have been working behind the scenes a lot longer than this. You've been writing a lot longer than this. MOT's been around longer than 2 weeks. We've just introduced this
2
channel.
months. 2 months, yeah.
2 months. But yeah, so it's it's going well. It's going well. Only up from here. That's the only way we can go.
Yeah. So let's see if we can get some people on here. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe.
Right.
We're on.
After this today, I have at 3:00 an interview with the farmer who does Bear Trail beef. He's working on starting an alternative food supply, and he's taken off really well. You look at there's actually a brief documentary on his farm, his family's farm. It's really cool. It's called Capturing the Crush, or Capture the Crushing, something like that. Capture the Crush. Anyway, and he's located in New York, upstate New York, and he has a 50-acre farm, does beef and pork, and now they're getting into sheep. And the dude's a badass. He drives truck, and he also does the farm full time. So he's a beast. He's crushing it. These are the people that we need to start promoting more and talking with more, because they're the ones who are going to be setting up these alternative infrastructures as the mainstream world becomes crazier and crazier, and supplies become harder to get. So that's going to be a good interview. We have that at 3. I'm looking forward to it. That's what MOT is all about. We want to stay ahead of the curve in multiple ways, not just with providing you information, but with providing you insights, knowledge as to where things will be heading. And one of the best places to look at where things are heading is South Africa. South Africa has a bunch of quasi-states, little de facto states of their own, run by essentially security businesses, security teams, who have formed their own sort of parallel societies in the greater country itself. And America will be somewhat similar to that. Because of that, you need to have your own supply chains. And that's what we're talking about. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today on today's show. But that's what MOT is about, is providing this information, this valuable knowledge, etc., so that way you can prepare for what's to come and not be fearful. And one of the things that are coming to Ohio, which I think is a really good thing, is the end of the concealed carry license. You no longer need a concealed carry license.
SB 215 is the name of the bill.
There you go. You don't need it anymore. Well, it still has the governor, DeWine, still has to sign it. But both houses, it looks like, both houses have signed it. And, well, I think that's a good thing. You don't need a concealed weapons license to conceal your gun.
The president of the Fraternal Order of Police in Cincinnati doesn't agree with you. He thinks it's a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I mean, think about it. there are people who conceal their weapons who
It
are
is
criminals
stupid
all the time.
because I don't carry my gun because of that reason. Because it's illegal unless I had to take the classes or whatnot. But then you still can't even. Can you even keep a bullet in the chamber still, or can it still
not
be?
sure
No.
exactly how it works.
You can have a clip in it right now if you have the permit. But if you don't have the permit, then you can't even have a clip in it. So that's why that's the main
What's the
reason
point
why
of
they
even
can't.
carrying a gun?
Yeah, you have to keep the clip in the trunk or some shit, and the gun in the
Yeah,
glove box.
Yeah, it's so dumb. So I'm for the bill because think about it. The criminals who will rob
They
you
don't
at
give a shit.
gunpoint,
Those criminals will do whatever.
exactly, they're going to conceal their weapon. They have their weapon concealed. So why can't you, somebody who's going to be defending your family, somebody who's going to be defending yourself, maybe defending other people around you, the fact, just because of the proximity of them being around you, right? And something happens, and you're the only one that has a concealed carry, and then you end up getting in trouble because you had your weapon concealed, but you saved everybody's life. That to me is not cool. So
Yeah.
I'm for the bill. I think it's a really good move. And what the hell is the Second Amendment for if if you
A
can't
lot of
conceal
people are
it?
gonna complain about it though, especially people who took the time to get the permit because it was a pain in the ass. I guess especially during the pandemic. I know a dude who had to wait forever to get the permit, and you got to take the classes and pay all the fees and all that. So they're gonna be it's the same argument with wiping clean the college debt. They're like, well, I had to pay my debt. It's like,
Right.
I don't know.
So it's like it's well, people just get so emotionally invested to these things, and I get it. You think it's an accomplishment. You passed your test. You got your license. You had to go through all the hoops to get it. I understand the emotional investment one has put into something like that, or the college degree, or whatever. But don't you think it can be done better? Like, how do things become better? Like, okay, like the college debt, for example, wouldn't it be a relief for your kids who were put into indoctrination camps, essentially, and that you wanted them to go into, that now they can start off with no debt? They don't have any debt because the endowments from universities or whatever, like Harvard, that just stack up billions upon billions upon billions of dollars from government to send your kids to school, they just sit on it, but they can actually pay off those endowments. They can pay off a portion of that student debt. And also your tax dollars are paying for your kids to go into debt. So it's dumb. Just
well,
like
if the Russians invade, we're gonna need to have concealed weapons. We may have to expose them more.
Right. Right. And the Chinese. What did the Chinese? They already are invading. Oh my God. They're in the universities and governments, which, this is something that, I was covering years ago, like 3-4 years ago. I was talking about the Chinese coming into the country. Anyway, we're going off topic. Yeah, with the concealed weapon scary, I'm all for it. I think that it should be done away with. Who cares if you had to work this time to get it? Like, whatever. Now it's easier for you.
That's like saying that's like black people being upset whenever they got rid of whenever everyone got the right to vote. They're like, we worked so hard or something, or I had an argument about something a while ago. It was like people were upset that so how whenever originally you had to own land, there were certain rules to be able to vote, and then everybody whenever they passed whatever amendment it was, which amendment was it that gave the right for everyone to vote, they ended the they gave the right to black people to vote.
I don't know, like the 13th or 19th Amendment.
Well, originally they're like, I had to have land and all this to vote, and then they passed the 13th Amendment or whatever, and they're like, really? I had to have all this to vote. Now everyone can vote type shit.
Right. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's going to be people who have guns. There are already people who have guns who probably shouldn't have guns. But then you go down a slippery slope. Oh, I don't want somebody who has schizophrenia or like massive bipolar disorder.
Well, yeah,
That's just
we
going
don't want a lot of shit, but we can't control any of it. Just
I
like
know, but
people,
I'm saying like
people didn't
you
want the
ask,
unicorn, but we still had it or whatever.
right. Well, you just ask, who are we to decide?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, we can make laws about it, but does it matter? I mean, who follows the laws? I do.
What? I think Mick's a Fed. I think Mick's secretly a Fed. He's trying to get us all in trouble here. He's like, who follows laws? Don't we all want anarchy and communism in America? Isn't that not what we want? Like, oh man, red flag, red flag. But yeah, so that's what's going on in Ohio. That was pretty interesting. I heard about it. Um, somebody at my job mentioned it to me, like not long ago, like very recently, and I didn't look much into it. But then Mick brought it up the other day. I was like, yeah, this is a good topic to discuss because it gives you more liberty, it gives you more control over your life, more responsibility. Sorry if you can hear this loud motorcycle going in my parking lot right now. It's a beautiful day out here. It's almost 70 degrees and sunny, freaking awesome.
Last weekend it was snowing.
Yeah. So today's a great day to walk around with your Glock under your shirt in Ohio. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, we got to wait till old man DeWine signs his signature on there, which is crazy. I feel like he's doing this because he took away so many liberties. He's like, well, now I got to make up for it and actually become a Republican or something.
Right. And next thing you know, there's going to be false flag events here in Ohio to do away with this law and all this stuff. And oh man,
you already know like, you're going to be catching some heat. They're going to be like saying Ohio's like a white supremacist breeding ground or some shit. They'd be like, they voted for Trump last year and they just passed this gun law.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Republican controlled state, so we'll see. I mean, it's purple. I think it's a purple state, but
it's a little green out there with some blue skies.
Yeah, now we're turning into a Weather Channel show, but yeah, so there's that, and then they're still complaining about the redistricting lines, if I'm not mistaken. That's still a thing.
Yeah, it's like total anarchy. They're like, well, we can't figure out how to do politics, so let's just let everyone walk around with guns.
Right, exactly. They're like, you solve your politics on your own. Here's an AK.
Well, how in the hell? I'm not against the bill, but why are they like they can't figure that out? But I feel like one thing at a time. You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't they?
There's multiple things that that go through the House at a time, and there's different committees and stuff like that. But I get what you're saying. So I don't know. I'm for the bill, though. I'm for the bill. This is going to be a good thing, and I believe other states will probably follow suit. And maybe it's what we need, right? Like, there's a book that I read. I mentioned it a few times because it was a really good book, The Forever War. And in the book, the people had to walk around with their own bodyguards when they came back to the United States, when they came back to Earth, because the book is about this intergalactic warfare that's taking place between humans and this alien civilization. And it's called the Forever War because there's these bunch of time loops, this time dilation that you experience as you're traveling through space. So maybe you've only been in space in your physical body for like a month, but because of time dilation, you're actually out there for like 300 years, whatever. So they come back to Earth after what had been like 50 years, 40 years, something like that on Earth, but only about a year out where they were fighting. They go back to Earth and it's all like deteriorating, degraded, and they have to walk around with their own bodyguards and shit because people will just mug them. So what if Ohio? Never mind, I'm not going to speak that into existence. But maybe there's a reason in preparation. They're like, everybody just needs to own their own gun, and then eventually it's going to be like bodyguards for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, who can afford a bodyguard? Like, not that many people. Why? What?
Not right now.
Just stay away from crappy areas where you think you need a bodyguard. I don't know. If you can.
Easier said than done.
Or get ripped. Let's get ripped, boy.
Yeah, yeah. You could get ripped. You could just be your
And
own
carry
rider.
your concealed legal carry weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only
But
so
not
much
only
you can do. You can die at any. You could just die of a heart attack. You know what I'm
this
saying?
is true, but your gun can protect you from those contracting heart vessels. You can like I don't know, you fucking
You could
shoot
just
your
take
foot or
yourself
something.
out instead of letting your heart attack kill you. You're like, I think I'm having a heart attack. I'm just gonna take myself
Or
out. I'm
maybe
not
you
gonna.
just shoot your foot. Like maybe that'll relieve some pressure. I don't know. I'm just joking. Anyway,
Anyway,
so yeah, it's that's what's going on here in Ohio. There's other stuff too, but like gas prices. Oh my gosh, let's complain about gas prices.
it's not
I
even really
spent
that
fifty
bad.
dollars at the pump. I spent $50 at the pump the other day.
It's not that
That's the
bad though,
most I've
for real.
spent.
I mean, I agree that it's BS, but it's not really that bad.
It isn't. No, I agree with you. People are blowing it out of proportion. I'm just saying I've never spent $50 filling up this car that I own currently before, and that's new to me, and that wasn't cool. But you are right; it can get a lot worse. And back in the '70s, I think gas was really high too under Jimmy Carter,
Yeah.
and we might experience something like that again. Maybe it'll be worse. Maybe it won't be
If it goes
worse.
up to $7, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes up to $7 around here. But if
Yeah,
it does, like then I mean, yeah, that'll be bad. You know. Well, the big thing is that it'll increase the price of everything else. It's not just like you filling up your tank; is that the
right.
price of everything else is going to go up too. So then it's like a triple whammy.
Exactly. Exactly. So get ready to negotiate with your jobs and be like, "Yo, I need more money."
Well, I don't know, man. Like
Or
some
or
places have been giving, they've a lot of companies I think have been increasing the pay a lot. And I remember I sent you that article or I posted an MOT on Telegram a while ago where one of the Bank of England was saying the president of the Bank of England or something was saying, like don't increase wages so much because this is going to like fuel hyperinflation. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. A lot of employees are, these huge billion-dollar corporations are going to be just fine, but a lot of companies are struggling right now. I mean, if you go to any restaurant, a lot of places don't even dine inside anymore. It's crazy. It's sad, man. There's some good places I know that are really struggling. And then you
yeah,
got like, factories and stuff are having to raise their price. Like at where I work, they've given everyone super fat raises. I'm not going to try and negotiate with them. They're going through we got a lot of issues going on already. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. What do you
it's
think
fair.
about that?
So my take on this is there's so much freaking money out there. Just go get it. Do stuff to get that money.
Where
Like
is all the money?
everywhere, dude. Everywhere. People have excess cash right now, and not everybody. I
Well,
get
some
that because
people have
prices are going
excess
up.
cash right
I
now.
get that.
Like, I'm sure some businesses are doing better than others.
Yeah, well, a lot of businesses have actually done really well who didn't cuck to the nonsense. A lot of them are actually doing really, really well. All the
Yeah.
business owners that I know who did not cave in to anything that
Are you
was
talking about like
nonsensical.
restaurants or something?
Everybody, like, there's a bunch of different businesses, gyms, restaurants, weed shops, smoke shops, all these places. They're doing really well, especially food places. Uh, if you started your own homestead, you're selling your own stuff. They're
Well,
doing really well.
a lot of places don't have dining. Like a lot of places that were restaurants don't even do dining anymore. I mean, they
Yeah,
can't find servers and waitresses because like you can go get a job at McDonald's and make $15 an hour,
right,
and like these restaurants can't really afford to pay their waitresses and servers that, which normally they wouldn't even do that. So a lot of people just don't even want those jobs anymore. And that's what
right.
I'm telling you. It's like a serious thing. We're gonna like this is just the beginning. It's gonna get real bad because I've been noticing it lately. There's a couple different Italian places that I know in Northeast Ohio that don't even serve inside anymore. And they're like, it's been like this since the pandemic started. Because, well, it started with, everybody was just afraid or whatever, all that BS. Now, all the other places have increased their wages so much. They're like, why the hell would I work here when I can go here and, make way more? And these places are just like, well, we're not going to do dining anymore. So it's like, why even have this big restaurant I don't know.
Well, be creative. Well, here's the thing. You know, when there's times like this, when shit starts hitting the fan, there are opportunities everywhere.
I agree. They should,
Opportunities
if I
everywhere.
was a restaurant owner, I'd be paying my people more to get a job there. I would treat them well.
Right.
I would have
And
like great benefit packages. I'd do whatever I have to do. You know what I'm saying?
well, there's a fine balance too,
There
because
is. Yeah, I
you want to
understand.
pay your employees well, yet at the same time you need to make money. So you
Well,
can't go out of business because
and
you're
so
paying
they're
your
worried about
employees.
raising the cost of their food. But here's what I'm saying. If it's good food, raise the cost. People will come and get it still.
For
Like,
sure.
obviously, people don't give a shit about the prices. They just keep going up. People keep buying shit. You know
For
what I'm saying?
sure.
So
Yeah.
that's just something I've been thinking about a lot because I've been noticing a lot of these places. And
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
get creative. They should get creative with the way they're raising their money. They should get more into the Web3 space. They should get more in tune with, products like Hex, for instance. Hex is a big thing that we're going to be using at MOT to help fund a lot of the things that we're doing. And that's passive income being generated that none of us have to work for, right? I mean, like we just interact with the contract and the contract does its thing. These restaurants can start up, they can shift their business model to doing NFTs, right? They could shift up their business model to cater to what's going on into the world today. Like, okay, you don't have people that want to work for you. Fine, fine. Maybe what you then do is just say, we'll just turn into a takeout place where we just deal with Uber Eats, fucking, DoorDash, and we just outsource the delivery of food and we just make the food. That then like I've never been in the restaurant business myself.
My
I'm
thing
just
is,
saying there's opportunities everywhere to shift your
yeah.
business model.
My thing is, well, screw shifting the business model. Are we getting rid of dine in? I mean, like, what do you think?
Obviously, no. My wife and I, we just had dinner out last night.
Okay, well that's good. I'm just saying, like, you're saying shift the business model, and I'm saying let's
cater to the market.
Yeah, I'm saying let's try to get people in here still to eat because there's a market for that.
There is, and the market in those places that offer the best services will survive. And those that can afford those services will go there.
It just seems like a lot of restaurants have given up on the dine-in thing. They're just like, well, we'll just do DoorDash. It's like, what?
That's what the market wants. And so if you want to survive, you have to adapt. You can't stay in your old way and saying, this is the way that it's going to be, because people used to like it. Some people in certain areas don't like it. I agree with you. I really enjoy, I can't say I love it, but I really enjoy going out to a restaurant with my wife or with my kids or with other family or just by myself, whatever it is, and having a nice beer, having a nice meal. I like the atmosphere. I like the music. I like the ambiance of the whole thing. I like it all. I do. So I get what you're saying, but depending on your market, you have to cater to that. Not everybody likes that either. A lot of people that I know, a lot of people that are my age, and younger, they prefer to have their food delivered to them. They prefer to have their food delivered to them and go somewhere else and eat their food. Maybe eat at their home. That's what they would prefer. And so you have to just shift with the times. You have to be adaptive. And that's all I'm saying. And so there's opportunities everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You have to be adaptive, but like, don't just give up on dining just because it went through a rough patch. That's what I'm saying. Especially like if you already have the dining space, why would you just like be like, okay, like
maybe they have to. We don't understand their situations either. So like maybe these places that are giving up on it because they're losing money, keeping the lights on and having people, paying people to wait on nobody, to just stand there. And so then it's just better to say, okay, why don't we just outsource the delivery of the food since nobody wants to come eat at this restaurant?
Yeah, I mean, the demand was low. People were freaked out, scared. They didn't want to go nowhere. Yeah,
I mean, maybe they need to get better at marketing. Maybe there needs to be better marketing campaigns to bring people.
Well, that's a big thing. That's a big thing with businesses. But another thing is like it's hard to do marketing whenever it's like unfair marketing, like if you try to use like social media and stuff, with all the censorship, and it's like you got to pay to have good marketing.
But you're not going to be like a restaurant isn't going to be censored for saying their food. The people
what I mean by censoring in that term is like you got to like pay, like it's like whoever has the most
cheap as
money.
Fuck, dude. Marketing on the internet is cheap as fuck. Right now, I have a marketing campaign going out right now for Ace One Cleaning, the cleaning company I started on the Nextdoor app. I'm reaching over 1,000 people for 30 days for $25, I believe. $25. In order to get that kind of traffic on a billboard, you need to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month. So I don't buy that. Marketing online is super cheap. I can make a Facebook ad right now, pay $100.
Well, I
Reach
guess I'm just
10,000
looking at
people.
it from like a perspective with what we're doing. I don't know. I've never looked into how expensive it is.
It's super cheap. Super
So
cheap.
yeah, so a lot of these places just must not even really be trying, is what
They
it is.
don't, which is why, see, there's opportunities for people out there who know about this to go in and get that money. See, there's money everywhere. There's money everywhere. You go like, hey, I'll teach you how to market. Uh, there's so many things that people can do right now. There's so many skills people can learn. You can learn how to just make business logos on Canva and sell those business logos because people don't know how to do that or people don't want to take the time to do that. Somebody like me, for instance, I do it because I've already done it a million times before. So I have no issue going in there, making my own logos for the business and stuff like that. But there are other people who are too busy and haven't learned how to do it and rather outsource it, right? So there's a huge opportunity there for it. Not a lot of people are going to take that time because it's not easy running a business. It's not easy trying to get the business up and running. And so you have your focus on other places, right? And so, like, for instance, somebody like MOT, we would like somebody to do the video clips for us, make excerpts. That would help us out tremendously. Right now, we're all doing so many other things that would add just too much on somebody's plate. And so there are opportunities everywhere right now. I get what you're saying. We can, and I'm not trying to downplay the severity of the situation either, because Mick is right that things are going to get serious. Prices are going to go up probably. I don't know if we'll have a deflationary period anymore the way things are going. I used to think that deflation would be the thing. I don't know anymore. And with that, if we just keep having this inflationary environment, well, then the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to up your skill level and get your money. Get your money. Have courage to go get your money. Like assets are a valuable thing to hold in inflationary periods. Like the wealthy, they don't hold their money in cash. They don't hold their wealth in cash during inflationary periods. They try to find assets that'll go up with inflation. Like that's what the wealthy do.
Yeah.
And that's how we need to start thinking too. But let's say you don't have that much money. So what's the way that you can substitute not having more money? Get more skills. Get more skills.
Yeah. Get a job. There's plenty of them. Go work.
Yeah, this is true too. There's
That's
plenty
a
of jobs.
stepping stone.
Yeah.
Well, also in national news, we got the Utah governor who who has threatened to veto a bill that would ban transgender girls from girls' sports. Have you looked into this at all, Luis?
Yeah, I read a couple articles. Well, I read the article you sent on it, and it's evil. It's evil.
They voted for him. It's crazy because a lot of people in Utah seem to be pretty conservative,
Yeah, there's a bunch of Mormons there.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah,
is there something about Mormonism we don't know? Didn't you have the? Oh, that was the transhumanism wars.
Yeah, a little more extreme Mormon. I do have the Book of Mormon though. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to eventually. I think it's evil. I think it's purely evil. I think it's satanic. I think that governor should definitely not be the governor. The people didn't want it because all the houses in Utah said, yeah, no, we don't want that. Therefore, the people probably didn't want it. But then the governor, being a social justice warrior, said, I have to veto it because it's not right. Dude's evil. Dude shouldn't be governor.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe he won't be for very much longer.
What do you think about it?
I think that, I agree with you. I think it's BS. None of that stuff really makes any sense. It would not really. It just doesn't. I mean, there's zeros and ones. That's how gender works, right? There's not all these other numbers involved. And I don't know.
It's
He
child abuse. It's child abuse is what it is.
Yeah,
It's
well, it's
disgusting.
confusing. Life is confusing enough. We don't need more nonsense.
I don't think life is confusing. I don't agree with that statement.
Well, for a child when they're first learning, it can be like life can be confusing, because they don't barely they're learning how to talk and understand things. So for a child, life, they got enough confusion and trying to learn and figure things out. They don't need you to be throwing nonsense wrenches into their brain and mixing things up and making them confused. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think that the last thing you said is right. What they're doing will make them confused. I don't necessarily think children are confused. I think children have, in a way, a better understanding of the world
Yeah,
than a lot of
you're
adults.
making them confused, but they
Yes.
already have they already have a lot on their plate trying to figure out life. So let's not throw nonsense at them,
Yeah.
confuse them. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. And I think that we'll see. I think there's going to be a big pushback for it by the majority of people, but then it's not going to, it won't matter as much because those that have the most power and money are going to push these things through and brainwash people eventually into thinking this. I mean, when I was going to college in my sociology class, they started teaching us all the different pronouns for genders. It was the stupidest thing. It was like Z, zer, they, them, eeks. It's so dumb. And it's nonsense. And so the issue is keeping your children in public school is only going to mess them up. It's only going to confuse them. You're going to lose control over your children. It's almost guaranteed. It's almost guaranteed at this point. And they're going to teach this nonsense to them. Doesn't matter how good public school you think it is. They're all being degraded. And eventually the private schools will all be this way too. If you interview or you speak with or you watch people who have sent their children to public school, they'll even say, there was no difference between the public and private school. I just paid more. And they had to wear uniforms.
Yeah, but they're
And
paying the public schools too. They're all
yeah, but
getting
they're not paying them directly. It's coming out of their taxes. So it's sort of an indirect payment.
Yeah.
And
Unless the bill passes in Ohio, the backpack bill.
yeah, this is true. So, it's people are going to start waking up and finding even more alternative sources. Not a lot. I'm not going to say there's going to be this huge exodus out of the public educational system because it's still going to be there and it's still going to consume the majority of people, I believe. But there will be a good portion of people who find alternatives, and that's what needs to happen in order for society to remain somewhat cohesive. If you start teaching these children that they can be whatever gender they want to be, you're damaging them. And then just think about so couple these factors with it. Well, actually, these three things. You're a child. You don't want to go get any kind of inoculation. I'll use that. Hopefully, that's not a word that AI picks up on. You don't want to get poked. But then your parents, because they've been brainwashed, they think poking is good. So against the child's will, it's going to go get poked. And then now, not only is that child getting poked so it can attend an indoctrination camp, but then now they have to put up something on their face that they don't want to put on their face. And then you're teaching them you can be whatever gender they want to be. You're teaching them sexual acts at an extremely
You can be whatever you want to be as long as you wear the face covering and get the poke.
Right. So it's like
you can be whatever you want to be unless you're against those things, and then you can be nothing.
Pretty much. But that's what they want you to think, which is not even true. If you reject all of it, you actually are something. You're nothing if you do that.
Yeah.
You are nothing but a cog in the wheel, cog in the machine. And so
I think that there's going to be a big move too. They keep saying inflection point. That's been the big term. 2020 inflection point in humanity and stuff like that. Seems like it's happening a little slower than People thought the end of the, people have been saying, oh, the end of the world, for like the past couple of years now. I guess they've been doing it for a real long time.
Well, yeah, the Christians. You can go back and look at the first Christians. They thought that Jesus was returning right away.
He did. He didn't he get out of the cave?
No, I'm talking after that. I'm talking the second coming.
Well, I'm saying whenever Jesus came out of the cave, they were like, dang, he's back already? But then they couldn't find him.
Yeah. I'm talking about like the what is it called? Eschatology. They figured that it was happening much sooner, like in their lifetime.
Yeah.
That the world would be reborn in their lifetime. So I'm just saying.
They've been saying this forever, like the end is
forever.
near. Yeah.
Forever. And
every day the end is near. It could be.
Well, yeah, when
if
you die,
pass this concealed carry nonsense.
Right. To get a little deeper here, I think it's because we have these thoughts. One, because civilizations do collapse, but also when we die, it's sort of an apocalyptic event because it reveals to you the truth of what this is, and that's the apocalypse is your death, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's when because the only way somebody, in my opinion, there's a couple ways, I guess, in my opinion. Either the earth is like this flat plane, so that way everybody can see Jesus returning, or everybody meets him when he dies, when you die. Therefore, everybody meets Jesus on Judgment Day, and Judgment Day is your death. So maybe that's it. But anyway, yes, you're right. People have been talking about the end of the world for a long time, and there's good reasons for that because civilizations do collapse, and we're seeing the collapse of the United States in the future generations, which is why.
What is civilization? Is it human civilization, or are there separate civilizations? Like, how does that work? Because I've heard the term human civilization. Shouldn't it just be the human civilization?
No.
Why not? I mean, you've heard the term human civilization, right? Human civilization has not collapsed.
So let's look up the definition. I don't know though. I don't know the exact.
It's weird that they say human civilization.
It's a complex society. It's a complex society. So yeah, it's like a city with society, their own culture. So
there is no real human civilization.
No, I mean we can go deeper and say like, yeah, there are because we're all on a spiritual, metaphysical level. We're all
we have with our body language. Even if we don't speak the same language, we can communicate with our body language, and it, that's part of civilization. Like we can grunt and scream out in pain and stuff, and people understand things.
Right, but in this context,
if you haven't noticed, we're moving into the world portion.
Right. In a more practical sense, though, when we talk about civilizations, we talk about societies. Like the United States is its own. The Western civilization is different than Eastern civilization because of the constructs in which we operate within. That doesn't mean to say nothing's real. I know when I say constructs, or when anybody says constructs, they begin to think that we're talking about relativism, Marxism, etc.
Well, it's just little differences, though. I mean, it could be as small as someone sits down to pee or stands up to pee. I mean, it's just another way to divide people, in my opinion. Why can't we just be the human civilization?
I mean, yeah, it is dividing people. I don't know if it's intentional. I think it's just naturally things you develop in your environment.
Isn't it crazy how all of the people who have tried to conquer the world and unite the whole world, like Napoleon and things like that, why are they always frowned upon? Like why wouldn't we want to unite the world? Is it because I guess they did it violently, maybe, or what?
That's the only way to unite the world. You can't unite it peacefully.
Well, it didn't work, so obviously that's not the only way.
Well, if you were going to, if you're going to go back to the Bible here, that's the only way you would ever unite the world is getting rid of the people that disagree with you.
I mean, technically, God united the world by killing everybody in the flood, and then there was just a few united people on a ship. So, I mean,
well, then yeah. So you have to. Yeah, so you need violence. Like violence isn't a bad thing.
Violent waves of water.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, with this whole getting back to the whole transgender thing here, I know we deviated quite a bit, but this ties into how the United States is crumbling as a society. I think about my daughters, and I know that the boys that are being raised today in these public educational systems and their brainwashed parents, they're not going to be good men for my daughters. So, therefore, I need to work on building either your own little society, or you need to join parallel societies that are starting right now that'll actually raise people with similar values, interests, and beliefs. And that's another thing that MOT is all about. We want to help build and foster those kind of communities. Selfishly, one of the biggest reasons I started MOT was to start my own information center where I'm only getting information eventually from MOT. That's the goal. And that plays a valuable part. And so anyway, with all these children being brainwashed beyond belief, being poisoned because they're getting poked, their immune systems are weak, and they are effectively becoming retarded. Like, it sounds wrong, but it's true. The IQ is dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping in the Western world. And that just correlates with the decline of civilization. High IQ civilizations do much better than low IQ civilizations. And America is becoming a low IQ civilization. So somebody who has daughters, or even, it's really not so much for the men. I know that there's a lot of daddy issues, and that plays a huge role. But for the men, you can lead your woman the right way. That's what the woman looks for. But for the women, the girls, people who have daughters, you have to really consider what kind of men are being raised to protect your daughters, to lead your daughters, to provide for your daughters. What kind of men are being raised in this current civilization, this current society, and then what are ways that you can associate with a subset of that culture that isn't completely brainwashed.
Yeah.
Or maybe
all you can do is all you can really do is raise your daughters. I mean, they could always run off. I mean, once they turn of age and do whatever they want. I mean, you can't control who they marry. This isn't like this isn't
you can. No, I completely disagree with that. I completely disagree with that.
So I mean, like, what are you talking about? I mean, this is.
I would never let for instance, I will never let my daughters join the military. I will never let my daughters become a police officer.
Nice. How are you gonna do that? What are you gonna do? Chain them up? Like, what if they decide they want to?
They'll listen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, all you can do is try and raise them correctly, and
history shows otherwise. History shows that you have more control over your children than you think. It's this modern civilization idea that you have to let your children do whatever they want. Like, I'm for that to an extent.
Well, no, not your children, but when they become adults, then like legally,
they're still your children.
Yeah, but legally, you still have to. Well, they're not.
No, you don't. No, you don't. The natural law. Your children follow what you do naturally.
Yeah, I mean,
society is what puts these ideas in people's heads.
You don't follow every single thing, though. Like, people create their own lives.
They do, but they mold their framework from the framework you provided them.
So what I'm saying is, like, you can raise them properly, but in the end, I mean, what happens when you die? Then you can't control them anymore. So hopefully you raise them correctly, and then it's out of your hands at that point, right?
It is, but because of the way you've raised them,
they
won't deviate. Like, the thing is, if you have a strong, impactful presence in your children's life, they'll be okay. Most of the people that that struggled in life had shitty relationships with their parents, don't know their families. Most of the successful people in the world, like successful families. Think about the Trumps, for example. Why isn't Ivanka Trump doing her own thing? Because she's a fucking Trump.
Hasn't she only been in the family for how long has she been in the?
No, she's Trump's daughter. So Ivanka Trump,
Oh, okay.
So
What's his wife's name?
that's Ivanka. Ivanka Trump is married to Jared Kushner, which is funny you say that because Jared Kushner looks like a dude, looks like a woman. He looks very feminine.
Oh, okay. So Ivanka Trump is Trump's wife, but then like they named her
No, no,
their
no,
daughter.
no. Ivanka Trump is his daughter,
Well, what's Trump's wife's name?
Melania. Melania.
Okay, Melania. Okay, my bad.
Yeah. So Ivanka Trump,
Yeah.
what does she do? She works for the Trump. This is what I
Well, I was
mean.
saying Melania. How long has she been a Trump? You know, like 5
And I'm not
years,
talking about that.
10
She's
years?
following Trump. Trump has made her first lady. Trump is an alpha male. Trump has some good qualities about him. I'm talking about his daughter. I'm talking about his kids because this is the point I'm making here.
Yeah.
What do his kids do? His kids all work for Trump. That's what you're supposed to do as a man. You're supposed to build something up so that way your name continues. And that's why we have this transhumanism idea too, because we don't want to have children. We don't want to pass on our biological, our biological immortality, which is our germline. You are immortal. Your germline is immortal. You are naturally, you have things that are immortal inside of you that make life. So as a man, this is the point I'm making here, and I was using Ivanka Trump as the example. What does she do? She's still with the Trump organization. She's carrying the last name. And then so same with the sons. So with your point, the children can do what they want. Like it's this nice idea, but in reality, the strongest families, the ones that stay together, that don't fragment over time, they preserve their last names. They do things to honor their dad. They do things to honor their grandfather, to honor the people who made.
I get it. So, like, because she carried on her last name, you're saying that's kind of like proof that
It's not so much that she carried her last name, but it's more so that she's still in line with the Trump idea, the brand.
Because I was totally against that shit. I'm not cool with that. I don't like that. If you're gonna marry somebody, you gotta take their last name.
You. No, I'm with you. I'm with you there. I'm traditional in that sense. I'm just talking about the fact.
But at the same time, you're saying that.
No, I'm talking about representing the name. It's beyond that. It's representing where you come from and taking pride in that. It's not so much that you're keeping it. Like the man obviously is going to go out there. If you have sons, your name's going to carry on in perpetuity, hopefully.
So is her name Trump? Is her last name Trump or is it Kushner?
It is. It's Trump. It's Trump. We're getting caught up on irrelevant things. It's Trump. I'm just talking about the fact that she is still in line with that mindset because of the presence of her father, the presence of her, I don't know if she saw her grandfather or anything, but the men in her life have had an impact enough for her to want to represent that. And so that's what I mean. Like my daughters will never be officers. They'll never go into the military. They'll never do any of those things. Fortunately, my goal is to make sure my daughters never really have to work as far as like a job outside of the home. That's a man's job is to provide. That doesn't mean that they don't work. It just means that they do the work that they're supposed to do. And if they want to go out and get a real job and do all these things, I guess it's not that big of a deal. But ideally, the man is supposed to be in a position where his daughters don't have to work. And then the man that takes over his responsibility, the father's responsibility, provides a life in which she can raise the children, she can take care of the home, she can take care of social environments, and have a more fulfilling life that way. And the men that are being raised today, they're being a bunch of bitches, thinking that men and women are equal, thinking that women should lead relationships. It's stupid. And that my whole point here is that this whole transgender thing, this whole poke thing, and this whole mask thing is just going to emasculate men, boys even more, and men especially. So, it's imperative you start working on building your own communities where you can have strong, natural relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on that. The women are good mommies.
They are, and they love it. They love it. I'm telling you, I have a couple coworkers, and they complain sometimes about how their wives will maybe nag them or want to hang out with them more. And I'm like, dude, you need to give your woman some kids. If you're gonna be with her forever, give her some kids, man. Give her some kids, and that'll help her out tremendously. Obviously, you lead the home, you be the king of your castle, whatever. But women want kids, man. They do. Men do too. Men want kids. And a woman wants a man to give her children who can provide, who can take care. And it doesn't mean you have to be rich. Like there's this whole other idea out there that you have to have money in order to provide for your woman. No, they just want to respect you. They want to be with somebody that can respect and that get respect from men and can protect them, whether that be intelligence, strength, wealth, etc. If you have all three, trifecta. But you don't necessarily need money, right? So the whole point here is what's taking place with children is doing away with the natural order.
Yeah.
It is natural. It is natural for the men to lead because we are the strong ones. We have a desire to conquer. We have a desire to have our name be known, to be respected by other men, to be able to fight. Women don't have that. Men do. And with everything taking place right now, you're killing the masculine. So this all ties into what's going on in Utah, by the way, 100%. It's just on a bigger scale. Like it's just doing away with the masculine because then you're like, oh, you were born a boy, but you think you're a girl. That's okay. One, that's like delusional. That's insane. And then also you're like, and you want to go and compete against girls? Go do that. And then you go compete against girls, and then you're like knocking them out.
Yeah, and then you're thinking like, oh, I did something special.
Exactly, and you didn't. And nobody's going to tell you you're not doing anything because society is so morally corrupted, and it's just wicked, and it's evil, and it destroys men. It's going to destroy women, and it already is right now. So it's yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we have to say on that. So I think we should touch up. We're going to skip the trucker convoy, I think, huh? And we'll just move on to Taiwan. We can do the trucker convoy next week.
Well, really quick, I will say on the trucker convoy, I think what's going to happen is I think it's sort of died down from the news right now because the Ukraine-Russia thing has consumed so much of the airwaves. But I don't think it's over. I don't think the news of the trucker convoy and the effects, the alleged keyword alleged effects of the trucker convoys, will it's not over. Like it'll come to light in the future.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Russia started being blamed for the trucker convoys, for orchestrating and being behind some Russian oligarchs.
Yeah, well, I mean, Russia's going to get blamed for everything. First, it was the truckers. Now it's going to be Russia. And then it's going to be the Russian truckers.
And then it's going to be people that are sympathetic to Russia that are domestic terrorists. As I've been talking about, pay attention to the domestic terrorist narratives as they build. It's going to be huge, huge. But I think the trucker convoy it's going to pick up, especially when China and Taiwan begin to do their thing, when China starts to take control of Taiwan even more.
Yeah, well, right now, I guess the truckers are on the outskirts of D.C. and like some rural cities and whatnot. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm sure some things will develop here soon, and then, we can report on that next weekend. But, Taiwan, you were saying you wanted to talk about the speculation that China is going to take over Taiwan.
Yeah, so there's been, and if you've been following this, anybody who's been following the situation with Taiwan and China, you would know that this has been the same narrative for years now. Years. You can go back to my old YouTube channel, A Better World, and you can see me talking about Taiwan and China's tensions increasing in 2018, 2019, something like that. And, we were supplying arms to them then. China was still flying fighter jets over Taiwan's airspace. It's nothing new. But the timing is almost perfect for this to take place because China already has an alternative payment structure set up. So like with Russia, it was affected by the SWIFT being eliminated from SWIFT's payment structure. And that's the whole Western thing. But now it's being taken over by the Eastern. It might even be fragmented where you have two. Anyway, so, it's going to, as I mentioned last week, this is setting the stage for a shift of power. That's all. We all knew that this was going to happen for a long time. But what we're seeing right now is the stage being set for people to consciously accept The big dogs now are China, Russia, India, and eventually, I don't know, we'll just say China, Russia, India are the big dogs. And they'll have their own payment structure. And I don't think the debt based economy is going anywhere because I think overall, the governments of the world are sort of controlled by the same entities, the central banks, and the central banks are controlled by the same. Anyway, so, and that doesn't mean that they're all working together. Like I believe that there's different fractions of elites that are controlling the banks and stuff like that. So it's not like this one big grand conspiracy where everything's just so copacetic. No, I believe it's decentralized, and I believe it's more spread out than we think. But there's definitely a few. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of families that control. That's another thing. The elites that everybody bitches about, they have strong families. Like they have really strong families.
Yeah.
So maybe we can learn something from them. Anyway, so I think that this is setting the stage for a mass shift in consciousness for people to accept China, Russia, and India as the big dogs. The United States losing its throne on the empire, which isn't a bad thing at all. I think it's actually going to be a good thing.
Yeah. So what do you think that? I mean, what's your time frame? When are they taking over Taiwan, or is it just going to be like a thing where they just take it over quietly and nobody really notices? Like it's
No,
just.
it'll make airwaves, I think.
Do you think
It'll
like
make
it'll actually become part of China, or do you think that it's going to be like a puppet state type thing?
In my opinion, based on history, it already is a part of China. They're just rejecting it. They're trying to be a separatist still.
I mean, China's so big they could probably build a giant tarp and just like
If you
fly
go to
over Taiwan and do what they need to do. Nobody would see
if you go to the president of Taiwan's Twitter, which is a woman, by the way, and for all you people who are somewhat religious and like the Bible says that if your country is taken over by foreigners or women, you failed. You fucked up. Anyway, so Taiwan's president, she has in her bio that she is the president of the Republic of Taiwan, and then in parentheses, China, because they think they're the real China. They're not. They're not. The nationalists went down there during this war that took place in China. In the 40s,
yeah, they fled the mainland and went to Taiwan, and
they tried to make it the official China, and they failed.
Oh yeah, they're just like the leftover China. They're leftover Chinese from the last takeover.
And what the Taiwanese government maybe realizes, maybe doesn't realize, is that the Western powers, the Western Empire, doesn't care about them. It's just going to chew them up and spit them out. We see this with Russia, with the Georgia war. Georgia became part of NATO, and then NATO did nothing to help Georgia whatsoever. Now we're seeing it with Ukraine, and we're seeing that with Taiwan. Now the United States is saying, I don't know if we can really help out. I don't know if we can really help out. And that's because our military is pretty weak right now. It doesn't mean that, there's not strong people in the military.
Do you think it's because the American public won't accept another war? I mean,
no, I think that the American public will accept another war.
Well, then why would the military be weak? Like, you think like
dude,
just
let me tell you why.
The American public acts like they'd be down to fight the war in Ukraine, but I think they're all just full of shit.
They are. They
talk tough, but
so So what I mean by this is I know a lot of veterans. I went to school with a lot of veterans. And you start talking to them about their experience. Most of them never seen a firefight in their life. Most of them only did office jobs. Now it's getting even worse because if your drill sergeant yells at you too harshly, you can use one of your card. You can hold up a card, and they have to stop yelling at you because it's damaging your mental health. This is legit. This is 100% legit. So the military is becoming weaker and weaker. That doesn't mean that. I also know people in the military who were real badass.
I feel like all the
Real
cards.
badass.
I feel like all the cards. There should be like one where it's like a random card where it's like a gotcha. Where if you hold it up and you're like, I want to be safe, then it's like the wrong one, and it's like, oh no, and then everyone beats your ass. Like you got to beat your ass.
Right.
Everyone just takes up on them.
Right. But with that being said, there are also some military members who are real. I know military members or veterans who are real badass, who did get into firefights, who did do some shit that they did some shit.
Yeah, the majority of veterans are not for war. It's just dumbass Americans who just they want to talk tough. Like,
yep.
That's my whole. Anytime anybody supports any kind of war, I'm like, really? Well, then why don't you join the military?
Right, and you know what? That's not to say I'm against war either, because I'm not. I'm a realist. I'm a realist. I try to have the most accurate view of the world as I can. I still have blinders in certain areas of my life, but I try to have the most objective view of the world that I can. And war is a natural part of life. It's a natural thing. It's not a bad thing. There can be bad wars. Don't get me wrong. Like if we're going to go to war with Russia, bad war. I think Russia's in the right.
Hold on.
Based on the narrative.
Calm down, because
I think that China is also. I think that China.
We got this new wave of censorship.
We do.
We got the new wave of censorship. Yeah, forget the blue wave, forget the red wave. We got the censorship wave.
And I might be labeled a domestic terrorist for my words.
This is the big thing, though. It's crazy. Like this is censorship is uniting the world.
Yeah, it is
forcibly.
And the reason
with an iron fist.
Well, here's the thing: the whole Russia being censored from everywhere. You have to understand that Russia just said that if any of these news organizations that are over here and they're falsifying information, we will persecute them.
Oh,
that's why the ban's taking place.
Russia's also like banning Facebook and stuff like that too, which
maybe we should
imagine if the United States banned social media. You know how many people you'd see outside?
A lot, but social media is a good thing too. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not totally against it.
But I get what you mean. There would be less brainwashing. There would be more people living their lives and not consumed.
Well, here's the thing, Louise. We don't really need them. We don't need these social media companies. We basically, all the social media companies do is expand the ring of people you see, because like we already have ways to communicate. It's just like with Facebook, it's just like it adds more people on there that you can communicate with. But the reality is a lot of these people you don't really interact with anyway. So in the end, is it really even a good thing? I mean,
yes. I mean, no, actually, let me rephrase that. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a tool. Is a hammer a good thing? Is a wrench a good thing? A wrench, all it does is give you more a wrench just gives you the more leverage to tighten things and loosen things.
So it's a tool. It's not something to be played with. It's not a toy. It's a tool. That's what I tell my son all the time. I'm like, it's not a toy. It's a tool. When he was trying to bang my hammer around, I was like,
yeah, fair.
It's not a toy. It's a tool. If you sit around and toy around on Facebook all day, you're going to waste your whole day away. But if you use it as a tool, maybe you can benefit from it.
Yep, 100%. So, I think that I think we're living in interesting times, as I mentioned a lot, and we're going to see a wave of things going on. The trucker convoy will revive. The whole Ukraine-Russia thing will begin to subside. China and Taiwan will rise again. Maybe we're going to see some things about the unicorn again and the jabs that everybody received, because a lot of people are saying that there's distraction from what's going on with the side effects because of the Ukraine and China. The Russia-Ukraine war is acting as a distraction from the side effects that are coming to light now. So I think we're going to see waves. We're going to see waves of war.
Maybe they'll come out with a new unicorn out of the blue, and they'll be like, Russia made some kind of bioweapon.
Right. I think that's less likely, but I know you're kind of joking too, and I think that
it's just crazy conspiracy. That's all it is.
Yeah, I think we're going to see waves of Russia, Ukraine, trucker convoy.
It's like they're rolling the dice. They're like, oh, they're spinning the wheel. They're what are we?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That's 100% what's taking place, and it's to keep you engaged. It's to keep you engaged. That's really what it's about. It's to keep you engaged emotionally. That way, they can extract the energy they need to perform their black magic.
Yeah, they want to use up your spare time with bullshit, so that you're not actually using your spare time when you're not like working and stuff to get shit done. You know, and to make yourself prepared, like to grow a garden, shit like that. They want to distract you with nonsense so that you like just keep spinning your wheels to keep the machine going.
100%. 100%. And yeah, I guess we can just end it there because I'll just go on a whole other rant.
But so Louise, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, Snapchat. What else we on? You got it running here on the bottom.
Yeah, I forgot to have it running the entire time.
Give them the spiel. Let's do this. We got like, share, subscribe. Give us some love, people.
That's right. Give us some love. Don't forget to support us at this too. Like, support honest media. You got to support what you love. If you want us to grow and get the word out there some more, we're also a business here. We're also a business. We don't charge you for this information. We don't charge you for anything that we do here, but support would be awesome. And one way you can support us is by going to our online store, our Shopify store. I'm about to pull it up here. Give me 1 second. Working on it. Here we go.
We got the new G black hoodie. About to get
That's
me
right.
One.
Boom. Look at this. We got Make Families Big Again, because this is an important one right here. Make Families Big Again. This is unisex, by the way. This is a big one. We need more kids in America. Our population growth is so low, which is why immigration has sort of been helping that prevent it, actually.
Well, that's the population keeps going up though, Louise.
We have a decline.
Civilization is growing in size.
I don't believe that. I don't believe the numbers they give.
I mean, I do agree with you though that a lot of people don't want to have kids. They're like, let's have like 20 cats and.
Yeah, and I think it's so disgusting when people are like, my dog is my son or my daughter. Like, especially when women start doing that, dudes.
It's even more disgusting when they live in West Virginia and they say,
right. So look at this. This is a hoodie. This is the hoodie right there. Pretty cool. Got the logo there. Let's see. What else do we got? We got the water bottle. We got a coffee mug. You can be drinking from this coffee mug while reading your morning cup. Look at that. You can stay up to date, reading your morning cup that Mick writes, drinking your coffee. And then if you're at work or something and you need a water bottle to stay hydrated, here, boom. You can show people what you listen
to. I'm going to throw something out here right now. Anybody who buys the morning cup right now, the first 10 people who buy it, I will sign the shit and write an inspirational quote on there.
There you go. You're going to get Mick's autograph. It's going to be worth some money.
The first 10
people. It's
going
to be worth some money. It's going to be worth some money because we're going to the top, baby. MOT is taking.
I will sign it and write an inspirational quote on there.
There you go. So yeah, be sure to check out the store, guys. Support honest media. Support the revolution of honest media that's taking place right here. We are working very hard and doing what we can to help you guys stay ahead of the curve with good information, valuable insights, good knowledge, because a lot of people will just leave you stranded. They'll say, like the Alex Jones types, they'll just have you living in fear. They'll tell you all these true things and then say, they're coming for you. You got to hunker down in a bunker. There's going to be nuclear war. Forget that stuff, man. Live your life. Be brave. Have courage. Be a man. Plant a seed. And keep on doing your thing, man. Like, there's so many opportunities out here right now. Oh, you can complain about the dollar about to crash. Guess what? There's opportunities when that happens too. There's opportunities everywhere, man. And that's what we're trying to show here. We want people to build. We don't want people to destroy. That's the thing. So support honest media.
Yep. Support honest media. Support us. Stay ahead of the curve with us.
That's right.
And we'll
All
be
right,
talking to
guys.
you guys soon.
Much love. Thanks for showing up. Peace.
Peace.